Hey folks, Philip Lombo here with Automated Marketing Strategies, and I wanted to share with you a quick tip on setting up your automated evergreen marketing funnel. So one of the things that advanced marketers and entrepreneurs start thinking about after they've reached a level of success is, hey man, this is great. Glad that we're able to kind of hustle to get to where we are now. How can we make things a lot easier for us in the future? And one of the ways to do that is to convert your marketing and sales processes from kind of a manual churn and burn type of a thing where it's requiring a lot of work and effort on your part and the part of your staff to something that is more automated, more evergreen, so meaning that it just continues on and on without you having to touch it that much at all. So how do you do that? Well, one of the ways that we have been able to do that successfully for our clients is through automated webinars. Now, what is that exactly? Well, essentially, a webinar is an online seminar where you go through GoToWebinar or WebEx or Meeting Burner, whatever system that you're using. Typically, you provide your presentation over the webinar, and usually you record it. So what you do with an automated webinar is that you take that recording and you make it available on a periodic basis to your prospects as they come forward. So for example, if you're getting new traffic from Facebook ads or Google or even direct mail, well, all that kind of new blood that you're bringing into your business, well, you kind of funnel them into this webinar that was created a long time ago, but it's still in a way that they're getting great value from that. So there's a couple of nuances that you want to think about when it comes to that particular automated webinar that you're making available. One is the type of information that you're putting in there. Is it what we call timeless or is it timely? Timely information is such that it is something that is now, right? Maybe you have a trending topic in your industry, or there's a news item, something you saw on Good Morning America or CNN or something like that, and you want to make a commentary on that. Well, that is something that is relevant right at that particular moment, typically, okay? So I'm just kind of some generalities here, but that's usually how that works, and it doesn't last very long. It doesn't have a lot of staying power because people forget the news after a certain amount of time. So for example, if I put out an automated webinar and the topic is something that happened just yesterday, well, depending on how important that topic is and the lesson, et cetera, it may not be very relevant later on, even 2 months from now, 2 years from now. So that's something that's a bit more timely. Timeless information is kind of fundamentals, right? So regardless of when you apply it or when your audience sees it, well, it's going to be relevant to them no matter what. So for example, in the marketing arena, the concepts of lead generation or lead nurturing or sales follow-up, all that is timeless information. So regardless of when people actually get to that content, it's something they could continue to use very easily, very quickly, right then and there, without you having to tweak that too much. It'll still be relevant all the way through, okay? So that's one of the things you want to think about, what you're presenting. But also, you want to think about how it's presented, okay? Now, specifically, in terms of tactical things that you need to be aware of when you take a webinar recording and put it into an automated marketing system, is that you have to be aware of two things here. One is, what are you saying? Right? So if you are making references to events that happened yesterday, 2 weeks ago, or even on particular days or months or particular dates, well, you want to minimize that as much as possible. If you started your scripting, if you started your recording with the concept of keeping that stuff out of it, making it more timeless, then that makes it a little bit easier for you. But most of our clients, they say, hey, we recorded this webinar 2 weeks ago. Can you turn it into an automated webinar? Okay, well, we got to review the entire thing, right? And one of the first things that we look for is, well, what did you say, right? Did you make references specifically to dates or times or whatever it might be? If so, then we got to cut those things out. Okay, we've got to mute it out, or we've got to get a pickup kind of voiceover that from the client to overlay on top of the original. Or we kind of just cut it out entirely. Okay, so what did they actually say? The second thing is, what did they actually show on the webinar itself? So again, there's that visual component, right? So one of the most critical things is pop-ups and things on the presenter's computer that pop up, usually like from the taskbar, or if they have a calendar notification that pops up. Well, if we're planning to show this automated webinar recording 5 months from now, well, with somebody that watches it, and they see something that pops up and it says it was from 5 months ago or 12 months ago, whatever it may be, it kind of jolts them a little bit, right? And not to say that we're telling them it's live or anything like that. It's just that kind of jolts them and says, wait a minute, that's not today's date. So that's something that you want to cut out as well. Okay, so and anything along those lines, all right? So say, for example, the original PowerPoint or Keynote might have had a reference to a particular date. Well, we want to get rid of that, maybe replace it, or just get rid of it entirely, all right? So let me just show you in here how we do that, all right? So I'm going to go into one client's presentation here. And this is, again, the same type of scenario where he had a webinar that was recorded months ago and said, hey, we want to turn this into an evergreen automated funnel, right? So reviewing this, and we get to a point in the webinar recording. See how this pops up? Now, normally people, depending on if you're on a PC or on a Mac, you may just get, the current apps that come up and that's it, right? But in this particular case, it's on a PC. So down on the bottom right, we actually see the date and time when this was recorded. Okay. Now, again, as I mentioned, this was several months ago. So this is something that we want to get rid of. All right. So how do we do that? Well, I'm in ScreenFlow, and this is my editing system of choice. You can do this in whatever you have, iMovie or Final Cut, whatever it might be. And this is what I do in ScreenFlow. So I go in and I zoom in on that particular spot. Let's go. Okay. And right before that toolbar pops up, where is it? Here it is. I select that track and that clip rather, and in ScreenFlow, I just go up to Edit and hit Add Freeze Frame. And you see what it does right here. Okay, so it just takes whatever I was on at that particular moment, it replicates it as a single frame. Okay, and that's it. This is really, really easy. This is one of the reasons that I love ScreenFlow, by the way. So if you're doing any editing and you haven't used this yet, I really urge you to consider going to this system. But anyway, here, so this right here, this little area, that is a still frame. Okay, I just took a picture of what I was looking at earlier, and the rest of this part here is the rest of the clip, the movie. So I go through, and this is, you see how the mouse is moving now. That's live, right? And what I want to do in this case is go all the way to the end, where up to the point where that toolbar disappears. Okay, and it may take a little bit of time here. Let me go. I'm gonna have to zoom out. So it's basically right here. Okay, so and this one's a little tricky because here's a slide, and then it's just a tiny sliver of time until he goes to the next slide, right? So I'm just gonna go back right here, click on that clip, cut it, and then just delete. Right? I'm gonna zoom out. And now what I want to do is go into that original freeze frame that I created, right? Select that and go to the end of it and then just drag it over. So this, there's no movie here or anything like that. It just essentially just extends the time frame for that particular image all the way over to where it goes, right? So now instead of the time popping up in the toolbar, well, it just has it blank all the way through, okay? And when we go to the end of this clip,
and the other thing that people need to know is, why do you do what you do?
That's perfect, right? It goes right into the next slide. So those are my tips for you when you're considering putting together an automated evergreen funnel, specifically with webinars. So why do I share this information with you? Well, if you're watching this video, chances are you have your own questions or concerns about your own marketing efforts. And if that's the case, I encourage you to reach out to me. I deal with this every single day, and I would welcome a conversation with you. So if you'd like that to happen, just go to powercallwithphil.com and request your complimentary strategy session with me. Well, that's it for today, folks. Hope that was helpful for you. Cheers to your success, and we'll talk to you soon.